Welcome, mortals, to the new and improved channel. This is the one, the only, the most maniacal, evil, and eccentric villain coming to you from deep within the Phantom Zone. And that mortal, the mortal who ran this channel, is no longer with you. But welcome to a new reign. Welcome to a new era. Welcome to the era of Zod. And today I will be taking all Earthling questions as to who I am, where I come from, what's my backstory. Maybe you know me, maybe you don't. You do know I do maniacal things. What don't I like? Well, let me see. I don't like the SJW movement. I don't like these so-called directors and producers destroying great Earthling properties. I think it's a shame. It's a shame that there's such a great culture being destroyed by the film industry. So, myself, the most high above, will tell you guys and take your questions on what you would like to see here on the channel. So, welcome to the Phantom Zone, brought to you in part by yours truly, General Zod. So this is my coming out party. This is my change. This is the brand new channel where I will be not only doing stuff I've normally done, but I will also be bringing on I will also be bringing on other guests into the Phantom Zone. And welcome, Kay. Welcome to the Phantom Zone. And hail Zod. How is everybody doing today? Tonight, I will be restructuring my channel. I'll be doing different things. I will still be doing late night talks, but this is the new and improved person invading this channel. Will I? Only time will tell. But anyways, welcome to the channel, and here on Hail Zod, we will be getting into a topic that I wanted to get into. I wanted to get into the entertainment industry and how I feel about it. Why is there no original ideas coming out? Why? And it's quite interesting. It is a quite interesting thing that I want to talk about these new ideas or these lack of ideas that the entertainment industry has. You know, it really makes me upset. It really makes me upset that these mortals, these Earthlings, cannot come up with anything new. I mean, we had that hack job do that false movie Superman. Okay, I want to set the record straight right now. Superman did not beat me. As a matter of fact, I call that a draw. I was so powerful, he had to exile me. So I don't count that as a win. I count that as a cop-out. Okay, he threw me into the Phantom Zone. But as you can see, you can't keep a good villain down. I'm back, and I'm here, and I stole this mortal's channel, Lee-Cole the Fourth. Lee-Cole the Fourth is no longer. It is now the man, the mastermind, General Zod. No, I don't think that director had it right. You can't kill Zod. Come on, did you not see the extended cut? I won that fight. I won that fight hands down. But anyways, hold on a second and let me see. Who do we have here? We have Kay, we have Stevie. Welcome guys to the Phantom Zone, where today we will be talking about the entertainment industry and, well, the lack of the entertainment in the entertainment industry. No new ideas coming out of it. It's quite disheartening. It is. It's really sad that everything has to be retrended, rebooting. And my first topic of discussion today is going to be The Lion King. Now, why everyone is so excited about this film, I have no clue. I was under the assumption that in the 90s, they already did The Lion King, and it was a great movie. One of my favorite animated features probably ever. So why we need a retrend of this movie, I don't understand. but it's been a thing going around. It's been an epidemic with them constantly feeling like they need to remake these films. They need to reboot everything. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you do something once, if you do it right, then you should be able to have an original enough idea to come up with something new. All of the writers, directors, creators, they're just doing retrends of the same thing. And it gets me to wonder, do they have no...
Is there a lack of ideas? That is the question. So,
I am going to be taking your guys' comments, critiques, criticisms. Also, anyone who is viewing this later, please... Yeah, realistic 3D. See, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with them redoing this Lion King. I think that if they're calling it a remake, then they should actually shoot actual scenes. But it's all CGI. I mean, you can't call it a realistic or a reboot if it's just going to be nothing but CGI nonsense. I disagree. I think that if they're going to go with the angle that they're going to make it a live action, then you need to have live action stuff. You need to have like animals in there, you know, actual animals. If you want to call this a live action, don't go the CGI route. That's just ridiculous. But anyways, we have 5 people watching. Thank you very much. So I'm here today to answer questions. I'm here today to do topics. I am here today to introduce General Zod into the world, to let you guys know that you cannot keep a good villain down. I have come to be the villain of these marketing ploys, these the sham that is the Disney machine, bringing out nothing but retrends. Okay, my first topic for this I wanted to be was welcome.
What you remade as a retrend, bro?
Okay, very good. That's actually just still in good marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. This is a good lively debate. And by the way, welcome to the Phantom Zone. I'm glad to have you here as one of my first guests.
Thank you for having me, General.
Oh, no problem. You know, it's been a misconception in Superman that I'm some evil dictator, tyrannical ruler, but you know, I have benevolence that's no one ever got a chance to see because that fake Kal-El, you know, spread slanderous rumors and lies about me.
I mean, I'm not sure about evil or tyrannical or ruler, but dictator. Maybe get rid of the tater and you got something.
I like this Earthling. He is quite hilarious. So, sir, you say that you don't have a problem with the CGI Lion King, and here in the Phantom Zone, we can have debates, even though I do rule absolutely. We can have debates about these things, and tell me, what is your appeal to this new Lion King?
Oh, I'm not appealed in the slightest. I was just telling you why people like it.
Okay, so what's your personal take on it? Are you personally looking forward to it? Or are you like, no, I'm going to skip this?
I ain't going to see this shit.
Yeah, you know, my question to you is, do you feel like they've run out of ideas? Do you feel like these mortals are not putting out good material? Like the mortals in Hollywood have ran out of ideas.
They have plenty of ideas, they just don't want to use them. The problem is that trying something new is a financial risk, and they don't want to put out the money on something that they aren't sure is going to get the money back.
So let me ask you something. Say you were the mortal in charge of this big corporation, this conglomerate, and I'm not necessarily opposed to those, but say you were this mortal being. Would you run things differently? Would you maybe let these smaller creators take the helm?
I wouldn't say I'd let a smaller creator take the helm, because if you're making big budget movies, then you're going to need creators who have proven they can handle a big budget. But I'd get different creators to what they're using, people that actually have proven themselves but have their own stories.
Very good.
There are creators out there who have perfectly good stories and have proven themselves over and over again to be able to turn a profit out of their movies.
So let's talk about one of your favorite mortal shows out there. I hear a lot about this Cobra Kai here in the Phantom Zone, and what do you think they do differently in Cobra Kai that these bigger movies are not doing in these big budget billion-dollar productions?
I think what Cobra Kai does different is that it has a reason to exist. There's not just trying to remake it spot for spot and then just say, oh, it's live action, but otherwise we're pretty much even just taking the same script over. They bring new elements to it. Cobra Kai is a funny show. It plays on like the old cheesy 80s movie style and uses it in a form of parody almost, but still in a respectful parody, and adds drama to it. Drama that has a sort of intensity that wasn't allowed back in the 80s in these kids' films that it's allowed to do now, and I think it helps it stand on its own.
I agree with you, Marl. You have very good views. So, this is a good comparison, and I've only been broadcasting from the Phantom Zone for a few short years here. I've been catching up with Mortal Activities, and compared to your abysmal Last Jedi, what do you think that Cobra Kai did differently that the Last Jedi didn't?
Well, The Last Jedi is a really interesting example of a remake reboot. The episode 7 did fine when it came out. Force Awakens. It did fine. It wasn't a great movie by any standard, but it did differently on its own. It added different characters. It had sort of like a different feel to it almost. It made it fun. It made it more comedic. But then the problem with 8 is that it didn't. It tried to do it differently without explaining why things from before were different. It didn't just change the tone, it changed the universe lore, it changed the way the characters were. It didn't have any understanding of what came before it. And that's the thing with different remakes. If you're going to reboot something, you have to be really careful if you're going back to the original. If you're going to reboot it completely, then the best way to go is to change it up and like start again with someone who's a bit different. That's why I've been saying if they're going to reboot Indiana Jones, Chris Pratt would be a perfect actor choice because he is so different from Harrison Ford. But with Star Wars, they didn't change anything. They didn't completely reboot it. They tried to continue it, but they didn't have an understanding of what came before it. And that's the danger of rebooting. If you don't understand what was there before, then you can't keep the viewers who were there before.
Exactly. I noticed with your Cobra Kai that they respected the legacy, which despite the whole Superman debate and my raw feelings about that, Superman strayed from the legacy but took a different take on the characters, whereas you're dealing with a universe basically established in legacy. And when you see the comparisons of how they treated the legacy characters of the Karate Kid compared to how your Ruin Johnson treated the Star Wars characters, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
I know we could talk about this all day, and I'm going to talk about it as much as we can give details about it. But how do you feel like opening up did the new characters not appeal to you because of the setup that they started in the first episodes?
Well, there's ways to. I'm not. Give me a second to think how to explain this properly. With Star Wars, what I liked about it was the story and the characters, and of course I was like really young. I was 15 when episode 7 came out, so of course I was impressed with the spaceships and the aliens and the lasers and stuff. But I really love film and cinema, and I really appreciate good characters. And I liked episode 7 because I saw a lot of good potential with the characters. I saw good potential with Kylo. I saw good potential with Finn. Not so much with Rey because she didn't have a character. And then come episode 8, they messed it up. They got rid of any choice of a character arc entirely for visual, entirely for that quick shock moment. And I think that's because Rian Johnson can't write characters, or he just can't write really. With Cobra Kai, what they do is they have good characters established. They give us a character that was already established, and they change his character by giving us his side of the story. They don't change him completely. They just show him how he felt and why he did what he did before. And then they introduce new characters through him and have him turn these characters into characters we love. And that's what's great about Cobra Kai, is that they actually give reasons for why the characters are what they are. And then even in season 2, when they're introducing new characters, they still keep the main characters that they established as the main characters, whereas in the second film of the new Star Wars trilogy, they overwrit the characters that they introduced as the main characters to put in the new characters for their diversity.
This diversity that I hear so much about. I find, and this is just an observation, that this diversity trend seems to be infecting and destroying all of your good cinema. And I want to get your take. Do you feel that it's diversity, or it's them beating us over the head with the issue of diversity? Like, oh, you got to hit the check marks. You've got to check the boxes.
It's not a little diversity that's destroying it. It's the bad writing centered around the diversity. Because if you look at Cobra Kai, other than the 2 old men, who are your main characters? You've got a disfigured autistic kid, a black girl, a Mexican boy. That's pretty diverse, I'd say. But like,
and I never really thought about that, because watching the show, they don't make it known. It's not like everything that I have watched where I saw diversity pushed in my face. They do it in a way that's respectful to the legacy, but it feels like they're trying to create something new rather than destroy something that was established.
And what they do kind of say, they do make it known in Cobra Kai, but they do it for a reason. It's normally for like comedy, and the comedy often makes a point. Like, they show how out of touch and still stuck in the 80s that Johnny Lawrence is, when he's like, there's no girls in Cobra Kai for the same reason there aren't girls in the army. Or when Kreese comes back and is just a little bit racist about Miguel. It's because we're meant to understand that Kreese is even more stuck in the times, and he's, as much as Johnny's stuck in the times, he's a lot further back than Johnny is.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that is the difference between how you see them handle the characters in Star Wars to how you see them handle the characters in, say, Cobra Kai, is that they are giving respect to what came before. And well, as you know, from my legacy, it is terrible to watch something so great, something so epic, and then them do a kind of okay adaptation of it. Me personally, I'm a fan of your older take on me and Kal-El's battle, as opposed to this newer one. Not to say that the newer one wasn't enjoyable, But see, let's go to that for a second. Do you think DC does the same thing, or they just don't know how to handle transitioning the characters that have been established?
I think what DC are doing is different. For comic books, it's a slightly different thing because the whole point of comic book characters is they keep getting readapted and changed and brought back. Oh, hi, Stig.
Hello there.
Welcome, Stig.
What's up?
We're just talking about diversity and remakes and the creativity of Hollywood.
Want to know why the
Hold on, I
diversity?
gotta mute myself.
What were you saying?
The reason why diversity stuff fails in movies is because they start off with the diversity, not the character. If you simply
That's
write a good character, the race or gender doesn't matter. But when you start off with a character just being there to represent the skin color, that character will only be skin deep to begin with, which is why they fail.
That's an interesting quote, actually.
Yeah, character first. If if you want, a character that is gay, write the character, then make him gay. It doesn't matter. If you start with gay, that's what the focus of the character will be.
Well,
That's
that depends on
simply.
context. If you're doing like a fucking drama or a rom-com, then you can write their sexuality first. But that's because they don't have characters in rom-coms.
Yeah, they're just I don't know, just vessels to
Yeah.
get through a few jokes and whatever. But the
That's
foundation needs to always be the character, the personality, the goals the character have, the development, the weaknesses. That has to be the foundation, not their sexuality, especially if their sexuality isn't even relevant to the story.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can have like very hollow characters without much development, where they only have a few traits. It'll be their sexuality, probably like one bit of their backstory and know something they're good at. But there's certain things where we expect more more development and something better, and that's why Star Wars got messed up, because that is a classic in cinematic history that goes down as one of the greatest film series of all time, and then you come in with these cheap Hollywood, like not cheap as in they don't cost a lot of money, because these new ones have cost a lot of money, but cheap as in like they machine.
Yeah, it's when you write a story, every character needs to be in the story for a reason. The character has to contribute to the plot in some measurable way. When you just add characters just to fill a quota, that character will just, even if the character is a good one, that the character will just take the spotlight away from the characters that matter to the story, which was what happened with The Last Jedi and Rose Tico, really.
And I think that there's an issue of where people are seeing all these hollow films and thinking that's all cinema right now, and that's not. That's just the ones that get a lot of money, because not everyone is going to care about the deep characters, and I think the general audience is going to enjoy like just a pretty cool, visually good film. But I think the issue is more that these companies aren't taking the time to try and do both. Like if I'm gonna watch like an Expendables movie, I'm not going to even care about the stories of the characters. I'm watching it to see people get shot. But if I'm watching Star Wars, if I'm watching I don't fucking know. Yeah, I'm watching it to see these incredible stories in like a fully expanded universe. They have a literal galaxy to explore.
Yeah, if you want diversity in Star Wars, it has alien characters, not
As
just
well, yeah.
different. Yeah, not just different kind of humans. It's just
That is the thing that confuses me about the that is the thing that confuses me about the the mortal things going on here is that Star Wars is already diverse. I mean, like you said, Stig, they've been doing diversity for years before Disney and all of these other companies got on the diversity chain. There was not ever a time in Star Wars, even going back to the old movies, where you didn't have a diverse cast. You quite literally had mostly every race represented.
Yeah, and in the sorry, continue.
Say what you're gonna say, Stick.
In the old Knights of the Old Republic video game, the first one, which was a huge success, all the fans loved it. That game had a bisexual female that you could romance, and there was no outcry. Yet Disney seems to deny that the game even happened, and the game was canon too.
Well, isn't that kind of funny considering that they're talking about making the Knights of the Old Republic game the focus for the DD trilogy that's coming out?
Well, it's set in the Old Republic. It doesn't have to follow the games though.
It's not going to follow the games because they've proven that they don't care to go back and look at the lore to make sure it follows anything. I think if you look just at the Star Wars films, okay, you can make the case that it was a little bit like, that there could have been more diversity in it. Is it necessarily bad that it was mostly white and male? No, because who was mostly watching Star Wars? I'm sorry, but geeks only became popular and mainstream in the 2010s. Back in the 80s, you didn't have a bunch of like everyone watching Star Wars or these stupid sci-fi films. Star Wars really revolutionized sci-fi and brought it more mainstream than it ever had been before. So you couldn't. I don't think you can blame things for not being diverse if their audience isn't going to be diverse. However, it's not necessarily bad in the current day, back in 2015, back 2017, when these films comes out, to appeal to the bigger audience that you're now going to get. However, do not make such a big deal out of it like you're now a godsend for fixing an issue that wasn't even an issue.
Isn't it kind of insulting by Disney to just claim that people can only identify with a skin color? I mean, people aren't that shallow. I've spoken with people of all races, and you know, most of their favorite character is Luke or Leia.
Yeah, I mean, definitely people can relate to characters on a character level. Characters who give them hope, or characters who they see themselves in. But it is actually a fact that you are more likely to empathize with someone who shares your skin color. That's true for everyone of every race. That's been observed and studied. It doesn't mean that you can't relate to people like that. It's just you're more likely to. So if you're targeting that audience, it's easier to appeal to that audience if you use a cast that resembles the audience.
It doesn't seem to work though, because the more diverse Disney makes Star Wars, the less money they make.
Yeah, that's because Disney's shit and they've done it shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you do something diverse well, if you like, there are plenty of things I've seen that have done it well. There was Cobra Kai, which we were just talking about a minute ago. There was Gotham, which did it pretty well. It has a gay main character. It has a black female main character. It's a pretty diverse show. That's about it. There was one show I was watching that seemed pretty diverse, but then it went extremely woke, and I couldn't watch it anymore.
It's like I don't know. My personal opinion is that the only diversity that matters is the diversity of ideas and personality. I guess
Character should come before anything, and we shouldn't criticize something for not being diverse and not having a diverse cast. That being said, it is not in the slightest a bad thing to have more representation of other groups of people.
No, absolutely not. But
But I would say with that, it's all in the execution, right? It's not
yeah,
Cobra Kai proved you can have diversity and cleverly weave it into the storytelling while bringing the past and the present together. And people don't look at that angle. They just like, oh, we've got to check the boxes. We have to throw a bunch of things in here because that's what the studio wants, or they think the people want, and in the story be damned. I think that is where we're running into issues with all of these things being transformed into garbage or social justice warrior nonsense. Those guys, they don't want to focus on the storytelling. They want to focus on pushing the agenda. And it's not the same as it would be if you were doing what Cobra Kai did and blending the diversity while keeping true to the story you're trying to tell.
yeah, it's like in Star Wars. Sure, we can definitely have more diversity. It doesn't really matter if the hero is this or that race. But in I've seen they've started to add diversity into historical fiction. There's this Swedish TV show now, I think, called The First Vikings, and one of them is played by a black guy. Which,
Historical fiction is a really touchy subject, because if you're doing like historical fiction and you're showing like going back to ancient Roman or ancient or like other European countries and you're showing slaves, then you probably should try and be accurate with that. But if you're not showing like oppressed peoples and stuff, and you're showing maybe like armies or whatever, and you're not focusing on it too much, I don't think it's, for me personally, it's not that big of a turn off for them to have like a black person in that show, in that role. My issue is when it's not historical fiction, when they're doing like documentaries and stuff, and they go back and do that. Like the BBC did what's it, the Trojan horse, and showed the Black Emperor. Probably not what actually happened.
yeah, a lot of the countries back in those days didn't have any contact with each other. I mean, Norway had no contact with Egypt, and vice versa. So if I'm watching a TV show based on Cleopatra or something, I want the cast to be black because Egyptians.
Yeah, and one criticism that often gets thrown out when people talk about that is, well, why don't you complain when someone of the same skin color but of a different ethnic background gets cast in those roles? And I think that's kind of stupid. Like you can have like some point there while like if you're casting a Russian to play an English person, I think you can kind of see the difference between a Russian and an Englishman. But like most of the time, if you're having like a white guy play a white guy, you're not going to be able to tell if he's fucking English or fucking Norwegian.
Yeah.
There seems to be a new trend going on where they feel like they have to cast the appropriate race to whatever character that is like on the script. So, they're saying, oh, this character has to be this color to play this role, or the big one with that movie, The Upside. They were trying to say that movie wasn't good because Bryan Cranston wasn't a paraplegic. And it's like, that is the stupidest reason to pan a film ever.
Can you imagine for a second the amount of health and safety they would have to do to have an actual paraplegic on that set?
Oh yeah. You'd have to have the accommodations and everything else. I mean, the money that would have went into it, and it's supposed to be an independently made type of film, or it has that feel. It's a smaller production company. It was made for less money, but yet their whole argument, the whole basis of what they were arguing was that oh yeah, this isn't accurate because Bryan Cranston isn't crippled in real life.
Yeah,
Like-
well, that same thing happened with Rocket Man just recently. So now apparently Elton John, probably the most flamboyantly homosexual singer since Freddie Mercury, hates gay people because he didn't have a problem being played by a straight guy.
He's being played by an actor. It's what actors do. They pretend to be something they are not. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean,
That's another thing that came out with flipping Batwoman. They were like, "Oh, she's not Jewish." Can you tell by looking at her, or did you have to Google it?
yeah, I mean, Henry Cavill isn't really from Krypton, yet he plays Superman anyway.
Yeah, speaking
Oh,
of
don't
Bryan
get me
Cranston, he's not
started
actually
on-
a floating head in a computer. He was still Zordon. That film was
Yeah.
shit for other reasons, but still.
Yeah, and don't even get me started on that Krypton, that Kryptonian Superman. I can't stand him. So overrated. Everyone knows that Zod.
You're continuing acting, but we can see your face because you have your camera on.
Do you want to sodomize him, maybe? Sorry, really bad pun.
That hurt my soul.
Yeah. I mean,
That was
look
bad.
at look at Robert Pattinson. He's gonna play Batman. According to SJW logic, he shouldn't be able to because his parents wasn't killed when he was a kid, so he can't identify with Batman or the struggles of being an orphan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stupid view. It's asinine to think that someone needs to be the condition in order to play the role. Then just take the actor out of acting and pull people. You know, say you do a film about drug dealers, then just go and grab two rival gangs and let them go at it.
Yeah.
What about a drug addict? Let's go to rehab and grab some drug addicts. That's stupid. It's a dumb concept and a dumb formula that Hollywood seems to think that they need to follow, all because of this SJW nonsense and this narrow view that they've been developing now, and it's been in the works for years. It's just gotten to a point where it's boiled over, and now we see it more than we ever have before.
It's
I
sorry.
I agree on the point, but I do have to say, hearing the "I am the one who knocks" speech would have coming out of a balding redneck with fucked up meth teeth and a stained wife beater would have been kind of hilarious.
To be fair, with that was the reference to Breaking Bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be fair, you'd have to find a brilliant chemist who could cook meth at 99% accuracy, which I would just love them to try to find someone who was a meth cooker and be like, we need you for this show so we can get some realism on the world of cooking meth.
I wonder how they would find actors for movies like The Human Centipede now, though. They'd have to find someone who has experienced it.
Yeah, I didn't want to even experience that the first time I watched it. And
Yeah, it's like,
we
we can't make this movie. Nobody's experienced this before.
Lee, don't lie. Your girlfriend makes you do that on the regular.
Oh no, I'd do anything, but I won't do that. I won't do that.
Sounds like that Meatloaf song.
Yep, that was the tone I was going for. So, welcome. This is welcome to everyone who's here. I got 4 people, so welcome. I know I'm running against some people. Normally, I start to stream at midnight because that's when everything else seems to die down. But I wanted to do a video introducing the new villain. I wonder. I talked to I messaged Doomcock. I wonder what he would think of a General Zod.
He would think he has competition, but then he'd look at your sub count and be like, nah, never mind.
Oh yeah, I should go on a live stream one day and like send a super chat and be like, Zod challenges you. That I didn't think
That's what we call clout chasing.
that would be what?
That's what we call clout chasing.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's
I
like
don't know either.
it's a rap thing. It's like when MGK dissed Eminem, that was clout chasing because he was trying to use Eminem's fame.
Oh, to boost his own. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that makes sense. I shall challenge him when my legion grows.
Your legion
So-
of Kryptonians.
My legion of Kryptonians. Once we grow in numbers, we shall start to take down these SJWs and their nonsense. So, did
Be
you guys
careful,
see-
they'll have their green hair like a green rock.
I saw the perfect description of an SJW the other day. It's you have a building with 50 people living in it, and then a person in a wheelchair moves in. The building doesn't have a ramp for a wheelchair, but the wheelchair user gets by anyway. An SJW shows up, complains, demands the building torn down, wants everyone in the building to lose their jobs for supporting this travesty. And once the person is done, the wheelchair user is left sitting there looking like the guilty party that caused all the trouble, while a normal activist would just, raise money for a ramp.
exactly?
I thought you were gonna say just gets a ramp installed, but it's like nope. They demand that the building be destroyed and everyone who lives in it lose their jobs because they dared to live there. And that's like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing.
So, okay, did you catch up to the Twitter war of 2019 part 2 for me? With the Infamous followers.
I cannot keep up with any of these infamous fights, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it was hilarious. So it all started with Chris Knight and Sean Stackhouse. They had made a video about Infamous and her drones throwing around the word Nazi. It was a very tasteful video, kind of give a history of the stuff that their grandparents went through and how it's like it's a very, very touchy word, and that they should be careful when throwing that around.
Yeah,
And it was done in a very more respectful than what I would have put out.
Mm.
And
It's just like that's like when people call Ben Shapiro a Nazi, and it's like I'm not particularly a fan of the dude, but he's Jewish.
Yeah, and he's married to a woman from Morocco.
So that's the worst Nazi that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm not sure what here on Earth constitutes as a Nazi, but from all of the history that I've seen, the Nazis were pretty terrible people. They did horrid things. Of course, I would have made them kneel, but
Yeah, my grandfather actually died in a concentration camp.
see,
Yeah, the Allies shot him while he was on guard in one of the towers. Kidding. I'm kidding.
wow. See, I was about to get into that is terrible.
Yeah,
That
it was a
that
trap.
took Mr. Zod a minute to catch up with. Clearly,
Sometimes
intelligence is not a Kryptonian power.
My grandfather was actually torpedoed twice by the Nazis in the Atlantic. He survived both times. So he was helping with transporting people, refugees from Norway over to England.
That's pretty a pretty honorable thing.
Yeah,
And it's like you disrespect. The biggest thing for me is that you disrespect uh, legacy that people have, you know, have established with helping people out. You know, you're disrespecting the fight and the sacrifice that they made against the tyranny when you throw words around like that.
yeah. You lessen the word big time. It's like dulling the blade. When
But look at all the other words that they're lessening, right? We're talking about all the buzzwords,
yeah,
misogynistic and
the,
toxic.
the racist card has been overused. It's just and nobody even reacts to being called a racist anymore.
Yeah, it's like when you call someone a racist just because
Yeah,
um, and that's the danger that these people, these SJWs, these plagues of locusts don't realize is that they're descending upon things that in our culture used to hold relevance, things that were important, and
yeah,
they're using these buzzwords and they're taking the significance and the meaning out of what the word was intended to be used. And so now when someone says it in the hateful way that the term was constructed, then it loses that. And those are the things that should be highlighted, but these morons don't do that. They like creating problems that don't exist.
yeah.
Mm.
It's like it's down there with calling someone fat now.
Yeah.
It's just a bottom tier insult that has no root in reality or anything. 15 years ago, if someone called me a racist, I'd stop and think and go like, "Oh, damn, am I a racist? Did I say something racist?" Now it's just, "Oh well, this is some idiot called me a racist because I didn't like the new Star Wars movie." You
Or
know,
because you told a joke in a restaurant.
yeah. Well, you like that joke, don't you? I'm sure
Well,
as
the
hell not going to tell it live. That would destroy Lee's channel big time. Not gonna do that.
Oh,
no, but
don't worry.
genuinely, like
The
there.
human known as Lee no longer exists. But here at the Phantom Zone, we are tolerant to all things Zod. Go ahead and tell your joke.
No,
Oh
I don't
God,
want to.
no,
I don't want to. No,
you
I'm
do
not
not
doing
want
that.
him to.
No, I don't want to tell that joke either. It
Wow.
ha- it happened when me and a friend at a Christmas party were trying to tell the most offensive jokes, and we were doing back and forth and trying to top each other. And when it was my turn, we found ourselves at a restaurant. And just as I told it, the music stopped. Bad timing. The whole restaurant heard it. 100 people staring straight at me for telling one of the most racist jokes I've ever heard. Everyone next to me started fiddling with their cell phones, looking down, except my friend and another friend's girlfriend who were laughing their asses off. The whole restaurant was just staring at me.
Mm.
And it, they weren't staring at me with admiration, I can tell you that much.
They were
Okay,
staring at you like, oh,
Disapprovingly.
let us just be clear. Stig is not racist. He's just Swedish.
No, no. I'd rather be a racist.
okay, we have to get to the bottom of this because Zod needs to know. What is the deal with the Swedish? Why don't you like them? I've
It's like
always been curious about this.
England versus Scotland.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they occupied us back in the day, and during World War II they did nothing. They just sat there, sitting on their hands, and we both know where their thumbs were. And now it's all soy based. You know, it's just cringeworthy. The whole country. I don't like it. They have good actors though. I'll give them that.
In Sweden, they have this thing. They have males and females, and now they also have hens.
Yeah.
They have what?
Yeah, it's like
Hens in the female chicken hen.
yeah.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have heard.
It's basically it was just the Swedish word for like it or them. It's to say like if there was like a dead body or something and they didn't know the gender because they already found like one piece, they'd say hen in the police department. Don't ask why I came up with that. It's school stuff. We were learning about it and not just fascinated with murders and stuff. There's an actual reason.
It's a mix between HAN with which means he and HUN which means her. So they made hen, which is the in between thing. It's stupid as fuck.
But now they've taken it as an actual gender.
Yeah. Do you know how?
Wow.
Do you know how you sink Swedish submarines? You dive down and knock on the door.
I like that one.
Yeah. Do you know how you break a Swede's nose?
How?
You wave your dick at them from under a glass table.
Oh my god.
That is great.
They
So
did,
yeah,
they did however produce PewDiePie and IKEA, so we can't hate them too much.
He's okay. He's okay, but yeah, it's more the general mentality that I don't like. I'm racist towards Swedes for a good reason.
I think that the problem is that you know, it's become this thing that this this social justice warrior nonsense is like all trends that come and go. I have a feeling it will eventually die out, but we just got to ride out the storm. You know, and we got to say no to the products that are coming out. I got to tell you, I'm to a point right now where I am tired of Disney. I'm tired of the Disney machine, and I'm tired of the 50 remakes that they put out, all of the retrends and stuff. And the thing
then
is,
go back to Krypton and watch what you have.
what's that?
That was a joke.
Oh, you put out there.
You skipped. Couldn't hear the joke.
I said go back to Krypton and watch what you've got there.
Yeah, that would be a blast.
To tell you the truth, Krypton right now has better entertainment.
Krypton is burnt dust particles in space.
Exactly.
Sounds like the last Jedi.
Okay, but I don't inherently have a problem with reboots and sequels and continuations because there are good. There are people enjoy watching these things, and that's why we go and watch the sequels and reboots because we want to see more of it. It's not like they're brainwashing us that's so we can enjoy. We like watching it. It's just they're making it really, really shit.
You know, the best way to send a message and to fight this is don't spend money on it.
Exactly. The more
don't pay for it.
The more you give the corporate machine money, the more they're going to think that that's what we want. That we want these reboots, these retrends, these remakes. And
no, they know we don't want it. It's just if they think that they have the power to make us watch it anyway, then they're not gonna care. we're not in the slightest advocating that you use laptops and mobiles and everything, because it all has internet connection nowadays, and go to putlocker.com or BitTorrent or 123 Movies and see what's in the cinema right now for free.
Yes, here in the Phantom Zone, there is no laws prohibiting our kind from suggesting such things. So, mortals, should you happen upon these things, Zod approves.
We're not at all saying that you should go and spend $40 on a Kodi box from Amazon and upload it and then take it and run Kodi and get all these streaming services.
If it says download on the button and there's no warning, that means it's okay, right? They're telling you, hey, this is free, it's for you.
And hey, you might even get a link and find a Russian single in your area who wants to meet.
Oh, where? I have to meet her. She can watch the movie with me.
Zod approves of the 2-for-1. You get fine Earth entertainment and fine Earth entertainment.
You know, movies like that do make money simply because the audience has been dumbed down. Seriously, the movies that are, that have a passable story, a predictable, straightforward story gets hailed as brilliant now.
I mean,
and
yes,
people just go for the logos.
At the same time, I'm pretty sure you were alive in the 80s.
Yeah.
That was just a horde of the same action movie again and again and again.
Yeah, but they were incredibly entertaining, though.
Shit's entertaining now.
Nah, it's it's more fun watching practical effects and stunts than CGI. If I want to see CGI,
that is entirely subjective.
No, CGI is fake.
Yeah, and the fact CGI is fake, that's true. But the fact that it being more or less enjoyable than practical effects is entirely subjective, because there are people who do enjoy more going into a cinema and watching these massive space fights in Marvel with all these like lasers and aliens and giant 9-foot people, rather than the like practical explosion.
Yeah, but
toy models.
CGI should be makeup for a movie, not Botox.
It depends on the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
It entirely depends on the movie.
Well, I mean, you do have well-crafted television shows that can use practical effects fairly well, but for me, I tended to agree. It's not CGI necessarily destroyed films. It's that CGI gave a cheap way to do movies where they now just do a bunch of effects and lure people into the story rather than actually making a story.
And yet you gave Endgame a 10 out of 10, and it didn't have a single practical effect in it.
That was originally before I went back through my 4th or 5th time. I mean, Endgame was a great example where you can't take away from the special effects in Endgame. They're absolutely phenomenal, top-notch effects. I mean, there's not even you can't even have a debate about that.
I don't know. I thought Hulk looked a bit dodgy.
Which one?
Hulk, Professor Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk. Hulk.
That might just be because I don't like Mark Ruffalo's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just harassing you, Mark Ruffalo.
Lost a sub. Interesting.
Maybe they saw the channel name change and thought, who the fuck is this? I don't know this person.
It was probably my World War II joke. Sorry.
Maybe it was a Swede.
Could be. Could be a Swede, but in that case, you're welcome.
True, true. You know, but yeah, I'm sticking with it. But anyways, yeah. Um, you know, the whole effects thing has been a countless debate on which one is better, the practical or the CGI. My opinion is the merging of both done right is spectacular to see, but then you have the other issues that always come up is story writing. Sometimes these movies that are made, they just use CGI to cover up the fact that they don't really have a great story.
Avatar.
Oh yeah, I can't stand Avatar. I think that is the most overrated film of all time.
I saw a YouTuber did this challenge. He went out to the beach and offered people $20 if they could name a character from Avatar. Only one person got it.
I can't do that.
I can't remember much of that film.
Like Colonel Quaritch, was that one?
I don't think so.
The villain. Wasn't he called Colonel?
Let's
Hold
see.
on a second. I'm looking it up right now. Here in the zone, we have amazing Wi-Fi. Let's see. Colonel, yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Miles Quaritch. Colonel Miles
Yeah.
Quaritch. Yeah.
I almost got it right.
Close enough.
Yeah. Okay. Send me $20 then.
I don't have $20. That wasn't offering. I saw a YouTuber do it.
Oh, crap! I could have used $20.
I don't have any dollars. I'm English. Also, I'm a student. I don't have a job.
I know another character. He's called Venture Star Crew Chief.
Oh Lord, that is. You know, I'm glad that you agree with me, Kay. I found that movie so overrated, and you know, I've had the argument with people, but it's like, the best comparison I've heard is really it's a Dances with Wolves in space.
Yeah, like Dances with Smurfs.
The reason Avatar got so much money is because no one's seen anything like that before. That is literally it was new back then,
Yeah.
and that's why it got a pass as well because it was new. But now, when we look back at it now, when we've got that in a lot better forms, it's terrible. And also, they fucked the birds because they fuck by plugging their hair into each other, and they plugged the hair into the birds that they were riding, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, they stroked the chicken while riding
it. Which is, just think about that. They ride giant birds with hair that they use to have relations with.
In technically virtual reality, in a way.
Yeah, you know, technically virtual reality. It's just so overrated, and no one saw the subtext. The thing that I hated was that they used the military as the bad guy. You know, I rooted for the general. I was pissed when the general died. I'm sure you're shocked, but yeah, as a fellow general, I do not approve of Avatar.
Yeah, sometimes I end up rooting for the bad guy, especially in horror movies.
Well, who do they give you to root for? You know what the funniest example of the diversity, but I actually loved it because I found it hilarious. And not a lot of people watch this, but I thought it was a pretty, not the greatest, but a decent remake was Friday the 13th. The new one did what the dude from Supernatural.
Yeah, That one was really good, and the Evil Dead remake as well was pretty good, even if
Oh
it didn't have Bruce Campbell.
but they explained it very well that it wasn't about Bruce Campbell. And did you see that the end credit scene?
Yeah, that was groovy.
Yeah, where he's like,
Okay, but
Bruce.
horror movies are like they are like the absolute worst offender when it comes to uncreative, cheaply made shit films to draw in a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally last year I saw the adverts for free films, different films that looked exactly the damn same.
Yeah, it's also the genre that's the hardest to do right though, because if you show too much of the killer or the monster, it you kind of humanize it, and it's not that scary anymore. But
Mhm.
if you just show glimpses, it's way more scary. Like in the first Alien, you basically just see glimpses here and there, and it's the head of the alien and things like that.
Don't but
yes,
like we don't need Ouija, Conjuring, and The Nun in the same year.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
they
have.
went overboard with the possession. I don't understand what the human obsession is with being possessed by demons when they have a perfectly good ruler here.
Yeah, what possessed them to think like that?
But there's a reason they do it because statistically, horror movies are the biggest for profit. Not they're like they have the best profit ratio. Not specifically they bring in the most money, but the ratio of they're really cheap to make and get a lot of people coming to see them.
Yeah, and here's the thing: there's been some good movies that have gone under the radar. You know that movie that came out, Hellfest,
Yeah.
uh, was actually a very good, very creative horror movie that no one saw, and it was probably one of the most original ideas that they had because I've gone to those horror like carnivals and stuff. And the premise was a serial killer was actually killing people in the Hellfest, but people were dressed like this guy, so they couldn't tell like who worked for the Hellfest. And you have these places like that where they interact with the people, they grab them and whatnot. But this guy was killing the kids that were involved, and the plot twist at the ending actually got me because I didn't see it coming.
Hmm.
And that was the first horror movie I had saw that had gotten me with a twist in years.
I see
It's
a
a
lot of. I know there's a lot of movies that get really underrated. They're actually really good.
oh yeah, and then you'll have a big budget film that'll be pushed and called the greatest thing, and you see it and you're like, oh, it's okay, but I don't understand all of the hype that was surrounding this thing.
Yeah,
And
like Man of Steel.
like what?
Like Man of Steel.
Exactly. They should make a Zod movie.
I liked one called It Follows. That one was pretty cool.
It was good. I like that.
And
I
there's
thought
one
that
from
was
2006, I think, called The Descent. That one was amazing. It's a bunch of women exploring caves, and they run into something in them.
yeah, that was
I'm
a good
I'm
movie.
I'm really not a big horror fan, but there was this psychological horror film on Netflix that I really liked called Would You yeah, it was Would You Rather.
What was it?
Would You Rather.
Oh yeah, that was on Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never
That was
seen that
a
one.
spooky movie. When I saw that, I was like, I would rather not play this game.
Yeah, basically the premise is there's a rich dude who brings people to his house for a dinner party, like a group of like 12 people, and they've all got issues. Like the lead character needs to pay for her brother's cancer treatment, and he sits them down. He's like, this is a dinner party, and one of you will leave with a lot of money, enough money to solve whatever problems you're having and set you up for life. And we're gonna play Would You Rather. So, would you rather get whipped 3 times with this African whipstick, or stab this woman in the leg with an ice pick? Or would you rather open this mystery card that might have you shot or have your hand strapped to explosives, or be drowned for 2 minutes in a barrel?
That's a barrel of laughs.
Would you rather? Yeah. So that it's a whole film of that.
I'm
And
gonna have to watch that one.
these original ideas, they get pushed down for bigger ones that turn out not to be as good.
Isn't that movie kind of like Saw though? Because
Yeah,
they
but it's different. It's like in Saw, it's like a trapped thing, and like it's sort of like and more about the like mystery of who Saw is and how to stop them. In this, it's what he's doing, and it's sort of like a scaled down version, and it's more of a trap feeling because they're stuck in the one room, being subjected to these games.
so it's like a bone saw. First
Yes.
time I said it.
Saw is ready.
I would have easily taken him out.
Have you done it yet?
Me?
Yes.
Oh no.
I did
no.
request on yesterday's stream.
The bone saw is ready.
I still don't get that joke. What is it?
It's
from the original Spider-Man.
yeah.
Yeah, I know it's from Spider-Man, but what's the point in saying it?
We're bone bombing a stream.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a long running joke that is going down. So
Yeah.
it's really weird. I gained a sub today, and then I lost a sub. I'm trying
Maybe
to
the same person left. Like they subbed and like, oh, this guy looks cool, and then they watch your videos and like, okay, never mind.
I lost a few for a while. Lost like 5. And then
That's what you get for not uploading.
yeah, but the other day I got like 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the
Yeah.
most subs out of everyone with absolutely no content, and it's gonna be great.
I have 79 now. I'm closing in on 100.
Yep. Then we could do that 100 sub party here in the Phantom Zone. So,
Yeah, so basically, out of all the YouTubers, I'm doing the best because I'm doing nothing and I'm still getting them. I have absolutely nothing to offer. No work done, not even a minute put into the channel, and I'm getting them, and I don't want them.
I think that's why people are subbing to you. Because like every time you come on a stream, you're like, absolutely don't sub to me.
I'm gonna have to do something when I get 100, though.
Yeah.
Stig's like the attractive girl at the bar who gets the free drinks but has a boyfriend, so doesn't go home with anyone. So he gets the reward without doing anything.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna head into the park and film a duck or something and say hello there to the duck and just upload it so people can enjoy it.
And then you need to tell it, fuck a duck.
Yeah, something. Duck and cover.
Yes, I think that it would be great. You probably have like a K verse worth of views.
Yeah, just sit in
You
the
have
park.
more views than I do.
I'll tell a poop story to the duck.
Now that would be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next topic I wanted to get on here is I wanted to think. I want to talk about what this whole thing with YouTube and what you guys feel is happening. Is it people are getting their channels pulled down for nonsensical reasons? Is this overblown? Or is this actually a thing that all content creators should be worried about? Because I'll tell you, I've tried to put things into the chat, like, I used to be able to put some cuss words here and there, and now it doesn't even send the message. So the scrubbing has already started, and I want to get your guys' take on this and what how you feel about this censorship that is clearly in place.
Didn't we test that the other day though? You tried to type bullshit in the chat and it didn't work. And
Yep.
then I typed cock and it worked.
I typed in the chat, I was like, hey guys, this is a good stream, but I've got the GTFO. And I literally just said GTFO. I didn't say get the fuck out. And it didn't get put up. And I said, damn, all I said was that I was leaving. And that didn't get put up. And then when I put up and said, why is everything I put in getting deleted, I put damn, and then I separated it out with like spaces and dots, and GTFO said it out with like spaces and dots. Then it got through.
Gonna try something in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, that worked. I wrote, damn it, I'm cocking. That worked.
Okay, but YouTube has a thing, and no one has talked about this, but they've had it in place for a while, where if you send a super chat and they think what you're saying is hate speech, not only will they remove your message, but they'll take the money from your chat.
Wow. Like someone is sitting there and, oh, I could really use a Coca-Cola right now. So they just like, this guy donated, $5, so I'm just gonna label it hate speech, and take the
Apparently
money.
it goes to a charity fund or something for oppressed classes.
Yeah, probably. But that YouTube thing that's been going on, I don't know that much about it, but are there only conservative and critical channels that are getting hit by it? Or...
History channels got hit because they had Hitler speeches on their channel.
Well, he did make speeches.
Yeah, and History channels showed it and got demonetized for showing Nazi content. And like even like channels who are like left wing and do the same shit, like go after the right wingers and stuff and criticize them. They got a couple of them got it as well. So it's really just this isn't a political thing entirely. It is a lot because it was done to go after Crowder and most of them, from what I can see, are right wing commentary channels. However, it is more just an issue of YouTube censoring any kind of non-PG content.
Could it be that the whole thing hit everyone, but someone is using it to target, conservatives?
Okay, so
at
here's
the
what
same
happens.
time.
So I'm just gonna go over it quickly. Steven Crowder, the right-wing comedian. Yeah, do you know who Crowder is?
He's not really that right-wing though.
He's Christian conservative and he is right-leaning. I think he's pretty right-wing, to be fair. Anyway, he made a series of videos over the last 2 years criticizing.
Oh, I mixed him up with someone else. The other guy. Well, what's his name? I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so over the last 2 years, Crowder's had a few episodes of his show criticizing this guy from Vox and his the show this guy has, and in it, Crowder's a bit of a dick because even though he's a comedian, his level of comedy still ends at "Ha, you're gay and you have a stutter," because the guy is gay and has a stutter. But this guy is a whiny little bitch and makes us now, because it's Pride Month, decides to make a series of tweets going after Crowder, saying that Crowder's harassing him and getting his followers to send him death threats and
just like being extremely homophobic and everything like that. Even though he and like being racist against him for being a Mexican and stuff. And you look at his Twitter, and he's pretty okay with being called queer and a gay, and it's in his Twitter handle and all of his tweets and stuff. So Crowder's just a shit comedian. He's not being like actually racist or anything.
I mixed him up with Dave Rubin.
Rubin's left wing. I love Dave Rubin.
Yeah, he's
anyway.
Just figured he's not that conservative, not from what I've seen.
No, he's not really at all. And while I'm saying like Crowder's a dick and stuff, I'm not like going after him and hating on him. I'm just saying these are really shit jokes. I have been a fan of him before as well. Anyway, this dude made a whole.
Should the gay guy just approve though if the other guy is being a dick? I mean, he likes
but here's the thing. So this guy made a whole series of tweets to YouTube and Team YouTube saying that YouTube was the platform for monsters and they weren't going to do anything because Crowder was their ideal content creator because he harasses the gays and that YouTube doesn't care about their queer creators for like hours. He spent like a whole day going off of this stuff, taking a compilation of like 5-second clips from every video where Crowder talked about him and taking every insult over the past 2 years into like one video and stuff, and saying that YouTube not only allowed platform for this but supported it completely and that it was exactly what they wanted on their platform.
Yeah, that same guy had been supporting Antifa and encouraging violence.
Exactly. That's why Crowder was responding to him, because he was a supporter of Antifa, who are a terrorist organization. Fuck Antifa.
Yeah, they actually use terrorist tactics. So, yeah.
So YouTube initially said that what Crowder was doing didn't violate their policies, even if they didn't agree with him. It didn't count as harassment. It didn't count as hate speech because it didn't go under what they were classing as hate speech because he didn't spend the whole video specifically talking about this guy and specifically being homophobic or racist or anything towards him. He was talking about Vox and throwing a couple of shots at him.
Maybe I'm being weird here, but if someone, gay or whatever, wants to be treated like everyone else, which they should be able to take a joke too.
They should be able to take a joke, even if it's not a very good joke, even if it is. It's edgy, it's shock jock humor, and I get that, but this dude, he wasn't. I don't think he was offended at all, because here's what happened: the whole internet rallied behind him, as you'd think it would, rallied behind this gay guy, like all of woke community, woke Twitter, all of that came behind him. So eventually, even though YouTube had said it didn't violate any of their policies, they then changed their mind and they were inciting hate speech and had a month to change their content. Then they could reapply for monetization in a month if their content had changed, and then they'll be under review again. And that's what's happened.
And here's the thing. If you start down this road of telling people what's edgy, what's not, then are we going to do this to, like, say, a liberal channel that's doing edgy content? Because I've heard some of the stuff that comes out of those channels, and
yeah, I mean, I've done it to I've done it to liberals as well. I said they're like stupid, edgy, shock jock humor. It's not what I'm not saying that. It really, what the jokes that were made, I really don't find that funny, and I do think they're a bit shit. But I don't think he deserves to be more demonetized or targeted for that. And I don't think this guy was at all offended. It's Pride Month. This has been happening for 2 years. And I think what's obvious is because he was going after YouTube, he specifically said it wasn't about Crowder, it was about YouTube. This was an organized move by him, by Vox, by a bunch of liberals to take down YouTube as a platform, take down anything that went against them, and take down like the platform that was a big threat to them. Because Vox is mainstream media, it's a news site, and YouTube is a threat to them.
How come Vox has so much power though? I mean,
They don't. Less did this. Not even Vox. This one guy tweeted off of his personal account, and he works for Vox. And because he made such a big deal about it being about pride and YouTube not caring about the LGBT, he got all of liberal Twitter behind him.
which is
YouTube-
basically the people that are allowed on Twitter. If you're a
Yeah,
conservative, you get kicked off.
YouTube are pussies, and they're liberals as well, and they bend the knee to that shit, which is terrible because they don't care. They don't care what their actual creators think. They're bowing the knee to the people who are trying to destroy the platform they have.
And this upsets me for two reasons. One, without the edginess, you would not have had the content that you had in the 90s. Chris Rock, Carlos Mencia, Robin Williams, all of those great comic geniuses. And two, they shouldn't be kneeling to him.
Yeah.
If you give any one person too much control or any one ideal too much control, that is when you enter the realm of silence and opinion. Now, look, I've had this Twitter war going on with these idiots from the infamous side of the camp. And, listening to them talk, they're a bunch of freaking morons, but I still let them say their stuff. I didn't block any of them or anything like that. If you're going to talk like an idiot, go ahead, because that is your opinion. Even if you're attacking me, then fine. You're giving a joke, an opinion, whatever else, how terrible it may be. For me to silence what you're saying is contradictory. But that's also a fine line too, because there's a difference between attacking and debating. But my whole point is one side can't just have a say, and the other side can't just have a say. Then you have a one-sided conversation.
Well, it's not even one side or the other side. This is one guy who held a campaign against YouTube. They've let one man change their platform the same way Rotten Tomatoes did for Captain Marvel. And by this logic, right now, you or Proper could come out and change YouTube because I've made fun of your voice, or I've told him fucking hat gay, and even though I did it ironically,
Yeah,
you
it
could literally
sets
destroy
a
YouTube.
dangerous precedent, because where does it end? Where is the line? And then what is the line?
They had a line. Their line was if you make a series of videos continually targeting one person and being blatantly and constantly racist, homophobic, or anything towards them, that's harassment and hate speech, and you'll be banned for it. And then they decided, and that's what they said originally to this guy when he was complaining about Crowder. Crowder took a few shots at him in a series of videos over 2 years, not constantly targeting and just focusing on him, and that's why it didn't count. But then they changed their mind because this guy got a lot of backup on the internet.
It seems to be the line is wherever they put it, and they put it wherever they need it.
The line ends where your feelings start. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That is encroaching on freedom of speech, because then you can just draw the line anywhere you want to. You can keep on moving the goalpost, as they say.
It's not in the spirit of freedom of speech, and they should be supporting the spirit of freedom of speech. On the technical term, they're not going against the Constitution because as a private company, they are allowed legally to control what they want to be monetized or said in their platform, in their space. But they just don't support the precedent, and that's a terrible thing that more people should be against, because once you stop supporting the precedent, then people are going to take advantage of that for the law itself.
And here's the thing. This is why the major media outlets are failing. Go to any news station, right? Any typical credible news source. And, I watch Fox, but I'm willing to admit too, even them, there is one side or the other side, but there isn't what there used to be, where there was just reporting on the news. You had the news, and then at the end, the person gave their opinion of that news. That's dead now. You have a literal war of information, and it's spilling into YouTube. You have two people or two sides that have cornered the market in two separate ways, and they're at war. And you know who's caught in the middle? Us, the normal people who just want the news. I don't care about that Trump is a terrible person, so they're focusing on that or stuff like that. You know, I used to complain back in the day because they showed the stupid news of like a dog getting pulled out of somewhere. I'm like, what the hell does that have to do about the world? Now I miss those stories. I miss hearing about, you know, the neighborhood dog got stuck in a pipe and they saved it, because I'm so tired of the other shit that they keep on putting out there.
But
It's
here's,
like
here's the
it's like this. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you do watch it, you're misinformed.
mm,
And that is a problem because it's kind of like what the government tends to do when they're letting certain things out, right? We're only finding out certain things you know, with the military too, where you find out about missions that happen, but they just get declassified like 10, 20 years later, right? But you don't know about the details until about 10 or 20 years later. You don't know how horrid the mission was until they feel like letting it out. And it's the same thing with the media. If they get a hold of a story and they spin it, say someone else gets a hold of that same story and then something gets leaked that they didn't tell you, then you have the one news outlet backpedaling on what they said. It's ridiculous.
I think also the big problem with this is that two guys had an argument, so YouTube is destroying their platform. Because YouTube, the thing that makes it different from the mainstream media is that it's YouTube. It's supposed to be the place where people are free to put out what they want, and they just provide the platform for that. But now they're choosing what they want people to see more, or what they want to promote on the platform. And it's no, when they're giving an example of what you should be, and then they say the Ellen show for that you should be on YouTube, that's completely destroying the point of this as an alternative media source. If you're telling us what should be on here, then that means you are just the mainstream media, because you're restricting and controlling what is seen because of your bias.
So I wanted to address the chat for a little bit here because, I actually got 6 to 7 people watching. Hello, Mad Squirrel, my angry moderator. Don't make her upset or she'll throw an acorn at you. Goldfinger, good to see you on the channel. The Senate dropping by. Thank you. Welcome to the Phantom Zone Senate. Moira, welcome. Bruce, welcome. Also, the Senate brought up a good point. He said, I'm pretty sure Mecha Random gets more views than news services. She said in one video, I find it laughable. News outlets are trash. LOL. And I agree. The news outlets have become such a joke that YouTube had to get their revenue. But now you're in a situation where you see the news outlets, they're starting to try to take control of this platform, which what does YouTube always highlight? Their newest creator, content creator, not their latest, news outlet. It's the newest content creator, person creating content. And even that's been janky. Did you guys see the new content creators that they highlighted? Because I get that email.
No, I didn't see.
Some of these people were like actual celebrities and stuff because they're getting the clicks, and they're not highlighting like someone like my channel, or maybe even Geek, even though he reached 500, right? Or someone like that. We're doing just as great content, right? Or you could even take it a step further with Drunk, Black Angus, all of them, right? They're in that K club, pun intended. And, they're still going to be pushed down for these other people who can use their name to start a channel and right away, bam, they got an instant, however many followers that they're going to grab, right? These celebrities and stuff like that. I think it's garbage. And to highlight that, you're just taking away what makes this platform special, what makes YouTube the creators' thing, our outlet. I have another job, so I'm not really too concerned. I have two of them, right? But for someone who makes a living off of this platform, it's a dangerous game to be playing now at this junction, And
I think
I was curious, do you think that what was going on over there with the Brexit and everything, do you think that will eventually come to here?
what
Wait, were you guys the ones hit with Article 13 and all that? And then,
Article 13 is something completely different from Brexit.
yeah, I mixed the two up. Brexit was the other thing I was hearing about, but dude, what is that Brexit thing now that I think about it? It was Article 13.
Brexit is the UK leaving the EU.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. That's a whole nother different can of worms.
The EU is a governing body of European countries that collectively pass laws and decisions over the other countries. And they passed Article 13 and 11, now Article 17 and 11. Article 11 is a tax for when you link or show parts of a news outlet, so then you have to pay them to use their source or them as a source. Article 17, which was 13, is the copyright law, which will place the platform responsible if it allows you to post any content that is in any way copyrighted. So anything that lets you post memes, they can get sued by whoever owns that image. Anything that lets you post music clips, they can get sued by the music owner. So right now, YouTube, if you do it, then they can claim your video. But if after that passes, if you do it, then YouTube itself can get sued, which means they won't let you upload or watch anything.
And the other thing is if that comes down the pipeline, what that is going to do is that is going to put pressure on YouTube, which will then put pressure on the creators because they will start becoming more stingent because they don't want to be hit with those suits, which that part of it is understandable. But the whole pandering to the media, to try to get in cozy, I can understand the strategy, but I think it's a stupid one. YouTube essentially built itself on the backs of the creators,
Yeah, well, when it comes down, it will most likely be the end of YouTube because it has 2 years to be implemented now. Now it's been passed the countries have 2 years to implement it, and once it is implemented, if it goes through how it said it was going to go through, and then YouTube do stop people from uploading or using YouTube in other countries so that they don't constantly get sued, that destroys YouTube. It gets rid of all of Europe from their viewership.
Which then they're put into a situation because if they do that, then they know they're going to destroy the networking aspect, right? You're going to kill that demographic. But, so if they go that route and they stay independent, they're going to destroy themselves. If they fold into it, they're going to destroy themselves because then what are we going to be able to post? What can we use?
Yep.
It's going to be a messy thing. Now, when you upload a video, you're not going to have any sound, no pictures, because you're going to be scared of putting pictures up?
No, well, you guys, see, in America, you guys will still be able to do whatever you want. It will just cut YouTube off from Europe. We won't be able to upload anything, might not be able to watch anything.
Yeah, that's going to cut the whole entire thing. I mean, and people think, oh, well, it's in Europe. It doesn't affect me. It does when you're talking about a platform that is a worldwide
viewership.
Yeah, you got people around the world who are using this.
It's not just YouTube, it's social media in general, because like anything that lets you upload images, if
then you might be uploading images that aren't your own. You might upload a screenshot or a meme, and then that platform will get sued.
Yeah, so I mean, this is you know, this is a good example of where, like, you know, some people will see these things happening in other parts of the world, and they go, well, why should I care? Because it doesn't affect me. It does. You don't realize how much something like that does impact you. It's going to change the platform. Then people are going to be bitching, well, how did this happen? How did we not know about it? People, we've been saying it now for how long?
Not only change the platform, it could end the platform. This might be the thing that kills the internet as we know it. And we didn't even get a say in it. It was a bunch of people in power put into power by other people in power who'd made this decision without any sort of consensus from the people who vote. No general public was involved in this at all. It was the people in power in the EU.
Maura brought up a good point in the chat. Says YouTube is going to be a bunch of pet, knitting, and cooking channels. And remember, it kind of brings me back to the old days when I found out about YouTube and why at first I didn't do a channel, because remember, like, all the pet videos out that used to be out a lot and all of that. And that's what I originally thought of. But then, you know, I started like researching and looking. I was like, wow, there's people doing other things. And then I started getting into, like, you know, Geeks and Gamers and John Talks and Nerdotic and things like that. And I realized, wow, there's like an informative side, more informative than I've been getting from the regular news outlets.
What I started off on YouTube was the memes and the geek stuff. It was really a fandom thing for me. I never cared about the informative stuff. It was a way to connect with the things I like more than just watching a show.
Or, you know, all of the videos that would come out, like, you know, with Last Jedi and things like that. It was a way for you to hook up and to vent with other, you know, like-minded people, a way to start to build a community. And
yeah, I'd wanted to make a YouTube channel for years and years. I've been watching vloggers, I've been watching Pokemon channels and meme channels, and I've been watching Let's Plays, and I'd be like, oh, I could start a channel, I never got around to it. And then this happened, and I came into this community, and I was watching a live stream, and Proper was on it, and he told me to get on the stream because I was roasting him so I could roast him face to face. And now I finally have a YouTube channel after like 10 years of wanting YouTube.
I need to pop off now, guys. I promised someone to play a game online. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Stig, thank you for joining the Phantom Zone. We appreciate having you here.
Thank you for having me on, and have a good day.
You too, Stig.
So, yeah, getting back to this, it's a dangerous proposition that they're putting everyone in. It's a dangerous thing when you start talking about limited and restricting. And the sad part is people don't even realize. They don't realize how dangerous they are when they're letting this ride out. You know, when they're saying, "Oh, it's okay." No, it's not okay. You're taking away people's
freedoms.
Oh.
There we go. Sorry.
For fuck's sake, dude. That was sure.
There we go. Sorry, I switched mics, people.
Genuinely, people still don't understand how important this is because it got trivialized. People just get, oh, it's the meme ban. It's going to ban memes. It's going to make memes illegal. And everyone laughed at the idea of banning memes. It's not banning memes. It's destroying any kind of art, any kind of creativity, anything that you can do.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing of another reason why I, you know, so, Kay, were you here when were you in the chat with, no, you weren't with Geek in Disguise earlier?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so me and Geek and Perp Mine and a couple of other people were doing a stream before this one, and you know, I started coming up with this idea, and why I picked General Zod was because I wanted to go against going against the grain kind of a thing.
I thought it
I
was
don't,
because we were calling you Zod, but okay.
and because they were calling me Zod, and when I looked, I was like, wow, I do kind of look like Zod, so I'll roll with it.
Yeah, I did that last night with, I don't know who said it first. Someone said General Zod. I was like, holy shit, he really does look like Zod.
And I was like, and my channel tends to go against a lot of the popular opinion, so I was like, yeah, but that's what we need to do, people. We need to start going against the grain. The hypocrisy can only stand if people let it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I don't even know if that's entirely true because, again, like, people petitioned and stuff against Article 13, but we didn't have any power when it came through. This was a literal. I'd go to call it a fucking tyrannical decision.
so when something like that happens, then the only other thing is, they got to start losing money somewhere. So my question to you, Kay, because I know you're kind of like in the ground zero of these things coming down the pipeline. What do you feel like from your end, or from the other end? What do you feel like people could do to combat this? To fight this thing that nobody wanted.
See, that's really a terrible question because the way it started is because it was put forth by the music industry because of covers and lyric videos and YouTube things being uploaded to YouTube. The profits have gone down for music. People aren't buying albums as much. They're streaming and they're illegally downloading and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it was pushed through. The music industry pushed it through the EU, and the EU decided to put it in, even though they didn't explain it. They trivialized it. They lied about it and put it through. And people petitioned. People spoke to their local MPs. Nothing. Literally, it didn't happen. And we're leaving the EU. The UK is leaving the EU, and that means that probably we will not be under Article 13, we will still be able to access and use YouTube. Depends how it goes though, because the problem with Brexit then is that our politicians are absolutely terrible, and we've chosen to go into Brexit with no plan just because people thought just because the EU has control over us and we don't have any control over stuff that happens in our country. That's the problem. So now we have no plan. We're going into a state where it's probably going to be economic collapse. So that's the decision that we made. We decided, and unless we bend to the EU and listen to all their rules anyway. So that's the problem. Our country is pretty much screwed economically, and the only way to avoid that at the moment would be to go back under the tyrannical control.
Yeah, and see, that is a crappy situation. That is like the definition of a no-win situation.
Yeah, so what I could recommend to any European people who are watching your channel right now to fix this situation, what's the best thing you can do to help? Move to America.
Yeah, but see, even in America, people don't realize how much of your guys' politics is going to affect, even a company in YouTube, which I assume is based out of America, right? But losing that demographic is going to hurt us just as much because we have a lot of outsourcing in other countries. And here's the thing, no one thinks about how big of an issue is when it's not in your backyard. They say, oh, why do I care? Why does it concern me? What is so important about the Brexit and that situation with you guys fighting against the EU and Article 13 and Article 11? And why should we focus on that? People, we need to focus on it because it's going to affect us eventually. I mean, the whole thing with America, right? The whole thing we're pushing with diversity as the SJWs like to always hearken on, is that you're taking on that problem from that country, whether you want to or not. It's going to affect you.
That's totally true. But the thing, I think the difference in America, when you guys are fighting these SJWs, when you guys are fighting against diversity codes and things like that, there are actual ways that you can fix it. You just need to you need to be able to do like Comic Skate was doing and bring up your own entertainment, your own medias, create a counter to it. And I think even as much as we see the issue a lot, I think the majority of people are in some ways pretty rational people. They might believe a couple of things that we don't believe. Everyone's going to believe a few things they don't believe, but I think the SJW issue is really not as big as we see it. It's in films and stuff, sure, but it's not in the people, I don't think.
Here's the thing that's dangerous about that situation for me, and I think of it from the perspective of having a kid, and me and PB talked about this. It is that, yes, our generation can fight it, but the next generation is the kids. And the advertising, the school system, everything like that is sneaking it in, you know, subliminally almost. So
Yeah,
you're
and that's
running
what
in.
I think a thing with that is that a lot of people in your generation don't consider, because no offense, your generation is kind of very anti-technology in a lot of ways. You guys really do harp on the dangers of technology and things like that, and you don't see that the younger generations, people my age, people younger than me, are being exposed to so much freedom and so much difference of opinion through the internet, that there is like not a lot of risk that even though it's being run through our school systems, that we're going to get corrupted like that, because we have we have YouTube, we have memes, we have Reddit and forums, and people can actually discuss things. And that's why yeah.
Yeah, but see, not everyone's going to be as a rational minded thinking person thinking outside of the collective, you know?
Not everyone will be, but I don't think there's ever going to be a way to make everyone rational and everyone think outside the collective. I think
That's
the
a
majority
very
of
true
people
point.
will be. I think the majority of people will be, and I think the majority of people at the moment are.
I just get nervous at the other end of it, where I see a lot of young kids, a lot of teenagers, and they're on their phones and they're just taking everything in. You know what I mean? To your point, they're taking everything in, and then you have the entity controlling the media flow. That
Yeah,
is
and that's why it's so important. That's why the fight to save YouTube, save Reddit, save this stuff is so important.
exactly, exactly. It kind of all goes back to this one fight, which young, old, every generation should be getting involved in. You should be getting involved in it, because you're not fighting for just us. And I realize this, being older myself. I'm not just fighting this battle for me and for my own sanity of not seeing the stupid crap, but it's my daughter, it's the kids that I run into, that I teach. It's everybody that is going to take over this earth. Because let's be realistically, you know, the older generation is all going to die. We're all going to pass away and leave this earth. And then it's going to be up to the people who succeed us to either run it into the ground or have been giving enough knowledge, wisdom, and common sense to make up their own minds. And I'm not even saying if you lean a particular way that's wrong. That's not the issue. The issue is of letting people dictate what you're leaning towards, letting people decide for you what to buy, what to wear, what to watch, things like that. That is the dangerous part of this movement. That is the dangerous thing. They want to create a bunch of bees, you know, that just swarm around the hive. And why they even want this concept, to me, boggles my mind, because it's boring. Why do you want to all have the same stuff, all have the same dress, the same movies? It's a boring world. But yeah, I'm going to start to wind this down, because then I'm going to go right into this next stream with the late nights with PB. And, you know, okay, I'll have you on there. But thank you for joining episode 1 of Hail Zod, as we have destroyed the Earthling Liko the Fourth is no longer with us now.
Well, you're a lot less annoying than he was, so thank you for having me in the Phantom Zone.
No problem, no problem. I never liked that human anyways. So thank you everyone for joining the discussion here. You can catch me here in a little bit. I will be talking with another Earthling I am quite fond of, Pop Culture PB. I'm going to be on with Lonely Banter and Perp Mine and a couple of others. I'm going to get them on. Maybe see if Stevie J wants to jump in here for a little bit. But Kay, tell us about your channel and where people can find you.
Well, what's up, guys? It's Kay, your favorite British asshole. My channel is not really a channel. I have a really poorly edited video of a Cobra Kai review that was let out a month ago, and a live stream with a few friends to welcome me back onto YouTube after I took a break and deleted all my content. There is other stuff coming. My laptop is broken, so I can't edit anything, and that's why I haven't uploaded anything. But with all that's going on right now, I've decided I still need to put up some opinion pieces, so I'm going to be doing some low-res rants straight off of my phone, so you can expect those pretty soon.
Right. Well, as always, this is General Zod coming to you live from the Phantom Zone. And remember, all of you fellow followers and everyone who is watching, do not let the media control your mind. If you are going to bend the knee, then remember, don't bend the knee to the media. Bend the knee.
Bend it to your girlfriend.
Bend the knee to me, Zod. And kneel, everybody, kneel before Zod.